this is a new channel, so I don't expect people to jump on straight away. I don't expect people to jump on so quickly because I'm still trying to grow my channel. So I'm gonna talk about being feminine in the ministry and how to deal with mean girls, how to deal with being objectified and feeling like you're being exploited and people talk over you. It's so important to, don't take the nonsense from people. Don't take anything. It's just not right. To think people can get away with so much things like this. It's just not right. The first topic we're going to talk about is, being too emotional. What does that mean? Oh, you're too emotional. Oh, you're too emotional. What does that really mean? Being too emotional. Because anger is emotion. And I've seen a lot of angry women in ministry. Being very angry, using intimidation, and being very aggressive and being angry and being bitter. And, and they just act so angry, they act so bitter and they're so angry. And that's emotion too. They say that, women in ministry, we can't be emotional, but anger is emotional as well. And we forget that, being angry and aggressive and intimidating, that's also a, emotion. And we need to know how to control ourselves. And emotional intelligence is key. Understanding people's emotions, being self-aware. We always think that being angry, is like, you have to be tough for ministry and you have to be angry. But that's also emotion. So being too emotional, sometimes just being so angry, that's emotion too. So, yeah, it's really, really important. It's so, so important to not get caught up in what femininity is and thinking it's just about, being passive and being weak and making people exploit you. But it's not the case. It's not really the case. And sometimes it's really, really hard to flourish when people try to exploit you and try to mock you because you're quiet. They think that they can get away with it. They feel like they can get away with messing you around and playing games with you and feel like you won't speak up. But you can speak up. Just because you're quiet and you keep to yourself doesn't mean that you can't fight for what's right and to help others and to use your voice, like Esther. Using your Esther is using your voice and being about self-awareness and taking care of yourself. It's not vain. Looking after yourself is not vain. Taking care of yourself is not vain at all. And we have to understand is that having self-love, taking care of yourself and having intuition is not you being suspicious. Because sometimes being feminine in ministry, sometimes you can have, you have intuition and you feel like you think something's happening and you think, oh, what's going on? And they accuse you of being suspicious, but you're not being suspicious. You're not being suspicious. You just understand that sometimes you have high intuition. As a feminine woman, you have high intuition, and it's really, really hard to, deal with the backlash. Dealing with people that are, accuse you of being too sensitive. They accuse you of being, sensitive, and they accuse you of, you being offended. And it's not, you're not even being offended. You're not being offended. Sometimes you're just concerned, and that might make you feel like you're being offended, but you're just concerned about what's going on. So it's really important to not take it personally what people say. It can be quite scary sometimes when it comes to cursing, witchcraft. It can be quite scary because you don't know what's going on, and it's sometimes you feel like there's so much things going on, like spiritual abuse, witchcraft, cursing, and when you don't have intuition, sometimes sometimes things happen and you're not aware of what's going on, and you have to be very strong. You have to have intuition, and being feminine is a strength. Being feminine is a strength, and it's so important to not get caught up in, being tough and being masculine and, doing these weird stuff. It's so important to not take away your nurturing. You're being nurturing. We need that. We need people that are nurturing. We need people that are sweet and kind and caring. We need people that are sweet and kind, because everyone wants to be, everybody wants to be, being at the front, have a mic, but they overlook people that are so sweet. Even when I'm working, sometimes people always tell me their problems. Even when I'm doing my job and trying to work, people tell me their problems all the time. People always tell me their problems, and they talk to me about their relationships, what they're struggling with. They tell me about, work problems, and they tell me all their issues. I'm their counselor. I'm working, I have my job, but at the same time, I'm their counselor. They tell me all their problems, their issues of work, their relationship issues, and they tell me all their problems. They tell me all their problems and their issues, and sometimes, it can get awkward, because I'm thinking to myself, okay, how am I supposed to do my job and you tell me all your problems? But at the same time, everybody thinks that ministry is all about titles. You could be at work and someone telling you about their life. They're telling you about like problems that are really, really bad problems, and they're talking to you, and you're wondering, why do people always talk to you about their problems? But that's kind of a ministry. We see on social media now, everybody wants the mic, everybody wants attention and likes and stuff, but your ministry could be you talking to people. Your ministry could be talking to people that are broken, and that they just need you to listen to them. And sometimes it can get very, very awkward, because you're wondering how did you get here? How do you end up just talking? You're just trying to do your job. And sometimes when it comes to coaching, mentorship, and what's my purpose? And everyone's just confused all the time. Oh, what's my purpose? And they're like, oh, I don't know what my purpose is. And they're being a blessing to their family. They're a good mother, they're a good cousin, they're a good friend. They take care of their family, and they always have, they're like the person that people go to. When someone's going through a hard time, they talk to, they run to you. And sometimes we feel like we overdo the ministry thing and think, oh, we have to be on TV, I have to have lots of views on YouTube, I have to be on social media, I have to be on Instagram. But sometimes it's just really hard. It's really hard to remain feminine, and and thank you for your message. Hello. I'm new on here, so I don't know what I'm doing. Yeah, this is all new to me. I'm trying to reply, but it won't work. I'll get used to this live soon, but this won't work. I'm trying to message, I don't know if I can message back. Thank you. Yeah, but being feminine, being soft, and being kind and nurturing, and a good listener, that's really key. Don't let social media get you down and make you feel like you're not good enough, that that you're not doing enough because of what you see on social media. People are traveling around the world, people have outreaches, they have big platforms, but just being a blessing in someone's life, that's a ministry in itself. Being a light to somebody, because some people, they're going through a lot of stuff, and just them talking to you about their problems, you're solving their problem, you don't even realize how much of a blessing you are to them. And it's really, really good to not take your ministry for granted. Like, You are enough what you do, and don't be obsessive. Don't be obsessed with likes and views and stuff. You know, we're all unique. You don't want to be a people pleaser anyway. You don't want to be a people pleaser, chasing people, and lose your self respect for and morals because you want to make it. It's so important to not take a not get caught up in fame and lose your soul. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. You know, losing your soul for fame and losing your morals just because you want to make it far, and and it's just not worth it. You know, it's not worth it. So I'm going to talk about next is just we're going to talk about discernment actually. Yeah, talk about discernment. Yeah, talk about discernment. Sometimes we can talk about discernment and then monitoring spirit, because sometimes envy, jealousy, and witchcraft is not really talked about, and it needs to be talked about because sometimes we're not aware that someone's being envious. So we're gonna talk about envy, and envy is silly, but it happens, and if we don't have discernment, if we don't have awareness, we could end up ruining our life. We're not even aware of it because somebody is being envious, and we're just trying to be a nice person and trying to be understanding. And when someone is in ministry and they are being envious, and they're being prideful. Sometimes it's not clear. If you're broken, if you're a broken woman, or you're just going through a hard time, you have low self-esteem, and someone's envious of you, and you might be wondering, why would they be jealous of me? I have nothing. But sometimes envious people can see. They can see your potential. They can see your light, and they can see things that you'd be good at, even when you don't see it. So it's so important not to think that not everything's spirit of rejection. You know, not everything is spirit. Not everything is spirit of rejection. Sometimes is the person's envious and they've gossiped about you, and they plant seed of doubt in others. They planted a seed and they've gossiped about you, and now everyone's acting funny towards you, and you think, oh, it's spirit of rejection, but it's not. It's not spirit of rejection. They just felt intimidated by you, and they beat you to it, and they plant seed of doubt in others because of their envy and because of their insecurity, and they feel intimidated. Now they're gossiping about you. You think the spirit of rejection. You think, oh no, people don't like me. You know, I knew it wasn't good enough. Because sometimes you go to church, you're broken. You know, you're broken. You have low self-esteem, and you do anything to fit in. So now, you don't even see some people don't even see their potential yet. Some people don't. Some people don't see their potential yet. They don't see their potential. They're just trying to heal. They're trying to find their tribe. They're trying to find their friends, and they want a fellowship. But because the person's broken and they're not aware of jealousy and envy within the church, they might be naive. They might think, okay, I just don't feel like people like me much. I don't fit in. You know, they might feel like they don't fit in. They might feel like they just don't fit in, and they do everything. They try to do fit in different ways. You know, try serving. They try to people please. They try to change their self. You know, maybe they felt like them just being their self is cringe. They don't like their self, and they have to change who they are, and they have to chase. They have to force it. They have to, be overly nice. That they have to tell them their problems, and they have to tell them their problems all the time and say, oh, I'm going through this and going through that. They're trying to see that they're trying to, be as open and friendly as possible. Thank you. I've subbed to you. Oh, thank you. You have to learn how to use this thing, and have to learn how to use this thing. But yeah, as I was saying, it's just when it comes to spirit rejection, it could be, it could be you don't feel like you fit in, but at the same time, you have to be very careful of this person trying to paint you as a bad person, and they're very jealous and intimidated. You have to be very, very careful, because you don't want to end up, you don't want to end up feeling like you have to, be somebody you're not. You have to um, start chasing and being uncomfortable. And this is where intuition comes in. You got to take note. Is this person throwing shade at you? You might feel like this person's throwing shade at you, throwing indirect digs. You got to take note. You got to take note. It's about being feminine in ministry. It's about having high intuition, having discernment, and not being so quick to react. Learn how to be quiet and observe and understand the shade, the indirect digs, and to not be caught up in drama and, going back and forth. Because I've seen it before. They felt offended. They went back and forth gossiping. And it's like, no, you talk to God first. Talk to God first. And God will tell you, God will give you discernment. He will start to show you that don't do this, don't do that. Have wisdom. Don't be quiet. Be quiet and observe. God will give you wise counsels. It's better than being gaslighted, because I've seen people, they've talked too much, they gossip, and they end up being gaslighted. They end up being gaslighted, they end up people talking down to them, and they end up looking silly. They end up looking crazy, because they didn't sit there and just realize that, you know what, I'm gonna journal. I'm gonna pray. I'm gonna journal. I'm gonna pray about this, and I'm gonna just sit back, pray about it, and just talk to God about this first, and then see what happens. That's better than quickly reacting, being offended, talking too much, gossiping, and then now everyone knows your business. It's better off, it's better off just talking to God, doing way too much and having to let people know, your issues all the time. Every issue, everyone's like, oh no, here she comes, because you can't control yourself. That's why it's so important to, just take a break, take a deep breath, and walk off and journal and pray. Because if you keep going back and forth, you look crazy. You look like the drama queen. Even if people were trying to tarnish your name and they're throwing shade and digs at you, and you're there being a drama queen and talking and being angry and reacting to their abuse, because they could be abusive. They could be throwing indirect digs and I want to get a reaction out of you because they're envious and they're jealous and trying to humble you. They're trying to ruin your name. But it's so important not to just be quick to react, because sometimes you might have to leave. Sometimes there's situations that, witchcraft, cursing, exploitation, trying to ruin your name, your reputation. Sometimes it's good to walk away. I know you're supposed to be strong and, to keep going. But when it comes to cursing and people trying to word curses, you don't play with that. When someone's word cursing you, throwing shade, you have to run out of there. You even have to ask for permission sometimes. Sometimes it's obvious. Sometimes it's too obvious to just sit there and take it. Sometimes you just have to get out of there. And, sometimes when it comes to, being sweet and kind and smiling, sometimes they might take it as you being seducing. Being ladylike, like your makeup, like loving your makeup, and you just being ladylike. Sometimes see it as you being seducing. They might think it's perverted, because they just, when it comes to being feminine and stuff, they just think it's all to get a man, and they just don't believe it. They don't buy it. Your confidence, your happiness, they don't buy it. And that's why some girls are really turning bitter. They're turning masculine, they're turning bitter, because they've been told that they're doing too much, that they're a bit, you need to toughen up. But, be nurturing, having high intuition, and, and being a good listener, having high intuition, it's so key, it's so needed in the ministry. People need love. A lot of people are depressed, a lot of people are burnt out. A lot of people are fed up with the routine. People are fed up of not being appreciated. And They just feel overlooked. They feel like everyone they fed up with selfish ambition, because some people are fed up with people that think about themselves only, the whole selfish ambition, and it can get hard sometimes. It can get really hard sometimes when it comes to ministry, because some people are just trying to, um, it's all about them, selfish ambition, and they're just getting drained out. They feel like it's never good enough what they do. So it's really, really important. Your femininity is important in ministry. You can comfort people, you can give them encouragement, say, "Oh, we got this." Because some people work very hard in ministry and never get recognized. They just have their hand out, so much entitled people, and it just feels so drained. And your comfort, your encouragement, say, you got this, and you're doing well. They need to. Sometimes they want to hear that. They want a hug. Sometimes they don't want to just be, being saying, "Oh, do this, do that," and they like serving God. They love being in ministry. But some people want a hug. Some people want to be listened to. Some people want to vent to people and say, "You know what, this is too much for me. This is actually is getting out of hand." The entitlement, that sometimes they just don't like the entitlement people have, and they need that comfort, that push. Like, a lot of people don't have that these days. Due to work, competition, and social media. Everything's competition. So just want to do a quick live. Hope you enjoyed it, and hopefully this next time around, I know what to do with the comments and stuff. Thank you for the comments, and hopefully it'll be more people, and hopefully I didn't sound too fast when I speak, because I do talk really fast. Thank you for listening.